Kenichiro Takaki is perhaps best known for being the creator behind Kandagawa Jet Girl. Could you imagine? Senran Kagura is an ecchi series that's been around for over a decade now, and due to Kenichiro Takaki's leave of Marvelous Inc., the main rights owners, the franchise's future has been up in the air. As a semi-fan of the franchise, it wasn't great news, but in checking if anything had happened more recently, I rediscovered the first game Kenichiro Takaki is credited as working on, Red Ninja End of Honor, or in Japanese, Kurenai Shinobu Kekka no Mai, meaning Red Ninja Blood River Dance. Wikipedia erroneously refers to the Japanese title as Reddo Ninja Kekai no Mai, which is hilariously wrong. Now, Takaki isn't credited as the creator of the game, nor the writer, nor the lyric writer, like for Senran Kagura. He is the game design director, basically meaning the only credited work he put in is designing the gameplay. This is interesting because Red Ninja, etc. is a lot like Sen Kagura in ways that I find surprising. It's about a sexy boob ninja who goes around beating up nameless enemies and has tragic story elements. It seems to me like Senran Kagura takes inspiration from Takaki's time involved in the making of Red Ninja, either to make up for its deficiencies or to have his own rendition of it. As Marx famously paraphrased Hegel as saying, "All the great world historic facts and personages appear, so to speak, twice. The first time as tragedy, the second time as farce." That is to say, quoting Hegel, "Through repetition, what at the beginning seemed to be merely accidental and impossible becomes real and established." But enough about dead Germans. What's there to learn from Red Ninja? Well, for one thing, the game is terrible. The controls are not great and the camera isn't functional. I straight up don't recommend playing the game. Unlike Senran Kagura, the gameplay is not a good excuse to play it. I will say, though, the addition of gore makes me enjoy the aesthetic more than Senran's postmodern archive of a variety of characters appealing to different tastes. Ooh, look at me saying big words! Red Ninja is notable for having two promotional events that were, for video games at least, a sign of the growing influence of otaku culture in both America and Japan. Firstly was a single tiny picture in the October 2004 issue of Playboy. I was expecting something more due to the fact that this was included in a section with fully nude models of other characters like Blood Rain, but alas, that's all she wrote. This is only notable due to Playboy's recent entry into video games journalism, most likely sparked by their own damn video game, and the inclusion of mature video games for a sexual audience. While this had been a thing before, it was only now that it was becoming mainstream, and Red Ninja sorta was in the midst of this new movement. Secondly was an event in a genuine Akihabara maid cafe where waitresses, dressed as the main character Kurenai, fed customers and promoted the game with what appears to be a demo kiosk. While nowadays promotional events at restaurants are fairly normal in Japan, if not always done with the best of ideas like the Sonic Forces Hooters campaign, and while maid cafes are ubiquitous within otaku culture now, these were only just starting at the time. Maid cafes only grew in mainstream popularity a few years prior to the event, and restaurant promotional events, it's difficult to get a history of when those began in Japan, and really in general. In America, I can say that aside from birthday parties and kids' meals with toys at McDonald's, promotional tie-in events were not especially common, and they're not even common today. The most they extend to are promotional toys or food items, but never full-on events like there are in Japan. There aren't a lot of English sources, if any, on the topic of Japanese restaurant promotions, so please feel free to make your own video about it. But in any case, Red Ninja was a big deal for about 12 seconds before it came out, and then everyone noticed it wasn't any good. X-Play from G4 didn't like the game, but they weren't very good at saying why.
Ninjas are supposed to wear pants. If they wanted to exploit her underage wiles, they could have at least put her in sexy pants. So our pantless wonders, ninjas with pants. Put your pants on.
Put some pants on your ninjas, people.
I agree. It makes no sense to have them going, ah!
How's it going? Long-time ninja, first-time killer. I just want to give a shout-out, say hello, what's up, Cleveland?
So that was a brief look at Red Ninja stuff and such. It's quite fun to see what Kenny was up to before Senran Kagura, and this game shows how he may have picked up on some things before getting his own series. But do you really think that's all there is to it? He made a shitty ninja game and then 6 years later he made a less shitty ninja game? Of course not. There's another important series that happened in between that time. Ikitosan. That sounds like I'm calling it Icky, but no, that's just how... whatever. This name might be familiar, as some of the characters from this series were limited edition DLC and Essable Verses. Apparently it was not limited edition. It was not taken down like I thought it was. Despite having the Wet Your Pants edition, I never picked up the DLC for this game, so footage missing. Ikitosen, or Battle Vixens, is a manga... Wait, that can't be what that translates to. Oh, gee, thanks, Google. So Battle Vixens is a manga made by Yuji Shiozaki. Tokyo Pop went really fucking out there with the localization. The manga itself is not all that important for the discussion aside from Ikitosan being about women in martial arts with big boobs, that's all it takes. There were 3 games for Ikitosan, all published by Marvelous as far as I can tell, but developed by different companies. Kenichiro Takaki is credited on his Wikipedia page for having worked on all 3 of them, but no specifics are given. Though it's clear he did something for the games. So, checking the credits, first and second games, Shining Dragon and Eloquent Fist, he is credited as a producer. And on the third game, Cross Impact, what a title, Kennedy is credited as producer/director, which is interesting since he was a part of the publishing company, not the development company. It was, however, developed by Tamsoft, best known in my heart for One-Chanbara and Hello Kitty Bowling, but is perhaps best known for making the Senran Kagura games. As far as I could tell, this Ikitosan game, the third one, is the first time that he was involved in working with Tamsoft. So that's fun. These games are also beat-em-ups, just like the 3DS Senran games, meaning it was very possible the idea to make Senran Kagura a beat-em-up game was from Takaki and Tamsoft's experience with Ikitosan. Unlike Red Ninja, however, Ikitosan wasn't involved in a new rise of adult gaming or otaku culture. None of these games were published in America, first of all, and in Japan they were released on the PSP, which was out after video games had accepted its ability to be adult entertainment, at least in Japan, where the console was well known for its plethora of explicit games. In America, the best we got was Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball, which was controversial for its subject matter, the subject matter being breasts. So, unlike Red Ninja, which was notable for its place in history despite its quality, the Ikitosan games are just fundamentally uninteresting to talk about. I'm not throwing the franchise under the bus, I just don't have anything else to say about them. I'm not going to say these 2 games were the only factors in Senran Kagura's inspiration, of course. The 3DS allowing for 3D boobs was one alleged inspirational element, for example. I just decided to point out these games since I find them fascinatingly helpful in understanding the history of Senran Kagura's origins. I've never played Jet Girls, is it any good?